superstars. Welcome to the Vocal Hall. Yes, if you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly tap the subscribe button below your screen. So last class, the last video, I talked about what makes you a good singer. So today, we're going to be talking about breathing. But first of all, before we can talk about breathing, you need to understand what goes on in your body. You need to understand how sound is produced. If you don't understand how sound is produced, it will be a little bit difficult for you to understand how to go about your breathing technique and understanding it fully. So, how is sound produced? Sound is produced in the vocal cord, but before it's produced in the vocal cord, something takes place, and that's what we call your breathing. When you breathe in, you're either taking air from your nasal cavity or from your mouth cavity. Then it passes through your pharynx. Your pharynx here is the upper part of your throat, so it goes down. It passes through the wall of the larynx, then gets to the windpipe, also called the trachea, before getting to the lungs. When air gets to the lungs, it expands and contracts. It expands and contracts. So during the expansion, there's an exchange of oxygen to carbon dioxide. So the same air which has transformed comes back, passes through the trachea back to the larynx, which is the voice box. And I didn't mention it when I was talking about the inhaling part. So when it gets to the trachea, to the larynx, which is a voice box. The voice box contains the vocal cord. So when the air passes through the larynx, it gets to the vocal cord, there's a vibration. A vibration happens there, and when the vibration happens, sound is produced. By that moment, the sound produced is not audible because you can't really hear any sound that is from here, from your throat. You don't talk from your throat. So that same air is what passes out through your cavity here, your vocal tract, your mouth cavity or your nasal cavity. Either way, just because the cavity is like a resonator, is like a house, just like the guitar, the box guitar, the strings vibrate to make sound, but without the box, which is the resonator, you cannot really hear the sound of the string until there's a resonator. So our resonator is here, our cavity, our nasal, our mouth cavity. So when air passes, the produced sound hits the cavity, sound is produced. So that's it. That is how you can easily hear yourself, and you can hear me. That's what happens. I breathe in, I breathe out, sound is produced. You can hear me because of my cavity. So now that you understand this aspect of sound production, we're now going to go into the breathing. What is the effective breathing technique for singers? The right breathing technique for singers is called the diaphragmatic breathing technique. Why is it called the diaphragmatic breathing technique? Because when you take in air and it goes straight to your lungs, the diaphragm is a muscle just right below your lungs. The diaphragm is responsible for breathing. It is the organ responsible for breathing. Without the diaphragm, you are dead. So when you breathe in and that process happens, the air hits the lungs and it gets to the diaphragm. The diaphragm contracts. And when it contracts, the wall of your muscle expands. That is why when you breathe as a singer, your abdominal muscle should expand. Then when you breathe out, it contrasts again, especially when you are singing and there's something called breath support. I'm still going to explain that later. it should contract again when you are breathing, when you are exhaling. When you are exhaling, it should contract. But when you are inhaling, your abdominal muscle should expand. That is how it should be. So I'm going to show you through a practical I'm going to do now how you should look, how you should breathe, what your body gesture should look like. It's not this way. Now, most times when you tell people to breathe in, they raise up their shoulders, they raise up their chest, the chest, it shows everywhere. There's tension all over the place. And that is exactly what causes throat singing. Because if you're not breathing the right way, all of the tension will stay here. It's not going. So you really need to free yourself from all tension and let it flow easily. Let the air flow easily straight to your diaphragm and back out from your mouth. You take in air again to your diaphragm, expands, then you exhale. And while you're exhaling, this abdominal muscle is contracting. So I'm going to stand up now and show you how it's done. Breathe in, breathe in. Out. In. Out. You can also breathe out from your mouth. Breathe in. Out. Can you notice that there was no tension on my shoulder? There was no tension on my chest. So unlike every other person, when they are asked to breathe in and they go this way, out, or breathe in, out, no. All these gestures will cause you to have tension in your throat. So whenever you want to sing, because you've not taken enough amount of air, you are trapped, the air is trapped in your throat, then you are screaming and you are screeching. At the end of the day, you break your voice. Your vocal cord needs enough amount of air for it to vibrate effectively. Because if it doesn't vibrate effectively, you find yourself struggling. So, say basically, when sound is produced, it's just about the vibration that happens in your vocal cord, and it cannot vibrate without the use of enough amount of air. So, hope you learned something from this video. Yes, I know you've learned something from this video, and I want you to practice. So when you get home, it's easier done when you lie down. Practice it. If you're not getting it, use a straw. Use a straw and try and practice with a straw, just as if you're drinking your Coke or you're drinking your juice or normally just drink the air like your normal juice through your straw. You discover that there's no tension. You're not using any tension to drink that. You're not to inhale the air. But just take it as if you're drinking. Lie down, get a book on your tummy. So you inhale the air with your mouth through the straw. You discover that it's going straight to your lungs, and your abdominal muscle and your diaphragm, they are all protrudes, all coming out, is expanding. So you release it again. So try that at home. You can write a comment, you can ask any question if you're still confused or you still haven't gotten it. Or you can send me a message if you want private classes. So in the next class, I'm going to be teaching you breathing exercises that will aid your singing. So see you in the next class. See you. Bye.